good? We're good? All right. So when I was in high school, playing sports, athletics, and this, that, and the other, there's been many times I've been told not to squat below parallel because it's bad for your knees, don't do it. So years later, I started getting into more into fitness and started doing CrossFit. Then later on, I became a CrossFit coach. So everything in CrossFit is like below parallel. It's not. It's a no rep. It doesn't work. It's got to be a full depth squat. So that was kind of confusion. So I was like, well, which is it? Is it below parallel? Is it a deep squat, or is it above parallel? Which is bad for the knees? Which one? So I did a little research, and I'm going to go over that here with you today. And I'm going to show you that squatting full depth is not only good for your knees, but it can build strength too. So I did some research, and one of the books I found was written by a guy named Dr. Lee. It's called Kinematics of the Knee at High Flexion Angles, and it was written in 2004. But basically what his book said is that squatting full depth actually places very little stress on the ligaments in the bottom of your squat. So right there, that's your first example of full depth squat. There's not much stress in the knees, right? He also said that ACL injuries are very common in American sports. So American sports like your baseball, soccer, football, things like that. Stress is highest. He also stated that stress is highest in the first 4 inches of your squat. So as you start to descend down in the squat, that first 4 inches, that's the highest stress point. So if you're squatting to full depth, you got to go past that first 4 inches anyway. And if you're squatting above parallel, it's the same thing. All right. So another research topic that I hit was Dr. Gullett. He wrote a book called A Biomechanical Comparison of Back and Front Squats in Healthy Trained Individuals, and that was written in 2009. So what he found was that as depth increases, the forces on your ACL decrease. So the highest forces ever measured in an ACL during a squat is around 25% of the actual force needed to tear the ligament. So the whole range of the squat, you're never really getting to that point where you're gonna really hurt your knee. It's not a matter of high or a low squat or a high or deep squat. The forces are never going to get over 25%. So I did continue my research and found another doctor by the name of Escamilla, and he wrote a book called The Effects of Technique Variations on Knee Biomechanics During the Squat and Leg Press, written in 2004. He found that the PCL ligament, which is the second ligament in your knee, it sustains max forces just above parallel squatting. So it's a little bit different from the ACL, which is the first 4 inches. The PCL is just above parallel. Just like the ACL ligament, it's never under excessive force in a squat. The highest recorded is only 50% of the force needed to tear the ligament. Thus, the ACL and the PCL remain unharmed whether it's a full squat or above parallel squat. Dr. Gullett, another guy that I mentioned before, Dr. Gullett earlier, in 1986, he mentioned a research compared knee stability to powerlifters, Olympic lifters, basketball players, and runners. And obviously, powerlifters, they have the stronger knees, even though basketball players and runners, they may not be doing squats. The powerlifters who are going below parallel deep squats are actually having healthier knees. So that right there just goes to show you with that research that going below parallel is not only healthy for your knees, but it builds a stronger knee overall. So the question that I want to answer for you today is below parallel good or bad? It's good. But if you do it in a faulty movement pattern, then the issue is that you're going to cause injury later on. All right. So if you move good with good movement, you can go below parallel. But if you have faulty patterns, it's going to create injuries. All right. Does that answer everybody's questions? That concludes my instruction.